Oregon interaction area. We're no longer habituating, we're interacting. I said, we're going down, you want to come with? Yeah, can I bring the machine? No, I don't want you to bring the machine. I want them to get to know you. I want them to get to know you, trust you. And then later on, you can bring your machine. Okay, so a week goes by, we're going to leave the next day. He's going to ride with me to Southern Oregon. We both live in Washington. And he says, can I please bring the machine? We don't have to turn it on. I just want you to see it. Okay, bring it. Okay, so now we're down there in our base camp at 5,500 feet up in the mountains in the middle of freaking nowhere. Miles and miles away from anything in Southern Oregon. And I get this mind speak from Zorth, who is the leader of the Council of 12 on our planet. And he says, we would like you to come up to the hill, which is a 300-foot elevation higher than our base camp, and it's over in this direction. We would like you three to come up tonight to the hill and sit before the Council of 12. No freaking way. The Council of 12. You need to understand that the Council of 12 consists of 2 elected leaders from each habitable continent. Each habitable continent. There are 7 continents on the earth. There's only 6 habitable continents with trees. Antarctica, not habitable. Not naturally habitable. So, that night, the sun's starting to go down. We hike up there. We take our chairs. I put the chairs where Zorth, Mindspeak, tells me to put the chairs. And we're waiting for the sun to go down. We're looking across the valley to the next set of mountains that are probably a good 5-6 miles away. And I swear, every one of those trees on the whole mountainside had Christmas lights on those trees. We just couldn't believe what we were seeing. All the colors, all the lights, all the orbs. All the orbs. Sun's going down. Now it's dark. No light, no lantern, no fire. Pitch dark. Zorth tells me, count the trees from your left to your right, inside your head. So I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now there's a lot more trees than that, but visually that's all I could see was 12 trees. Count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then he says, we're in the trees. And the trees are everywhere. They're beams of light. They're in the trees. Okay? They go into the trees during the day. They get their nourishment from the sun through the trees and the nutrients through the roots in the ground. And the trees are their docking stations. The trees are their battery ports. The trees charge them up. And when they're recharged, they pop out of the trees. Sometimes they can go a day or two without having to go in the tree. He tells me we're in the trees. He tells me we're beings of light, we're orbs, and we can shape-shift into physical form, and we can shape-shift back into orb form, and we can shape-shift into animals, such as deer, eagles, crows, squirrels, otters, the otter man in Ketchikan. That group in 2000 in a boat saw Ketchikan. I'll get it before I leave. Ketchikan walking on the beach and shapeshift into an otter. They can shapeshift. So he's talking to me, and he goes, I want you to tell Mike and Steve to count the trees from their left to their right, to themselves inside their head. They count. Mike, how many? 12. Steve, how many? 12. Zorth asked me to ask them to count again. Please count again from your left to your right. They count. Mike, how many? 12. Steve, how many? 12. All of a sudden, simultaneously, they both say,
they're in the trees.
They're in the trees. We were expecting to sit before the council of 12. We were expecting to see 12 upright, hairy, bipedal, humanoid beings walk in front of us. That didn't happen. Instead, we were sitting in front of the council of 12, the beings of light, who were in the trees. And Mike and Steve all of a sudden got it. They're in the trees. And then I told them everything Zorth told me. And then Zorth told me, go back down to your base camp. Go back down to your base camp and start up your device. So we did. It's dark now. It's pitch dark. We started up. There are 2 deep cycle marine batteries. There's a large inverter here. And then we have a wheel with 16 powerful magnets. So the batteries, the juice is going through the inverter to the wheel. The wheel is spinning with 16 powerful magnets, producing energy that goes back through the inverter and back to the batteries. And it just keeps cycling. Batteries, inverter, wheel, inverter, batteries, inverter, wheel, inverter, batteries. Just keeps recycling. Steve ran this numerous times at his home for days without it ever shutting off. The batteries never lost their charge. And while the energy is cycling this way, it's kicking off free energy this way from the wheel. So it's keeping the batteries charged and it's kicking out electromagnetic pulsating energy. You could stand 5, 10 feet away from that wheel, 15 feet away, and feel the electrical pulsating energy coming off that wheel. Boom, 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 boom. Feel it. We turned it on like Zorth asked. And the logging road's right here. We're sitting in our chairs on the other side of the truck. You could literally hear large flat-footed running to the back of this truck and then back into the cove and in that direction to this end of the portal. And it ran for an hour and a half. And then we heard the inverter beep. The inverter was ringing because the batteries were drained. The batteries were drained. We go to the tailgate of the truck and we're perplexed. Steve can't figure this out. He said, I've run that for days. The batteries don't drain. I cannot figure out why the batteries drain. And keep in mind, we see this much. They exist outside of this much. They were standing right there with us while we're trying to figure out what happened. Steve says, oh, you guys were taking energy from the batteries and the wheel. No. No, no, no. Leave the batteries alone. Just take the energy from the wheel. Remember?
Yeah.
They drained 3 batteries within a minute each time. People go out camping, hunting, they have their lanterns on, they have their lights on, and their batteries go dead. And they can't figure out. They put up their trail cams and the batteries go dead. They can't figure it out. They're draining the batteries. The next morning, Steve says, I have to go back to Puyallup. I have to finish a job. You and Mike can keep the machine. You're probably going to need more batteries. So Steve goes back home. Mike and I go into Grants Pass, Oregon. We buy 4 more batteries. We charged these 2 original batteries up, plus the 4 batteries we bought, so now we have 6 deep cycle marine batteries. I bring my boy with me, Grady. He saw the portal with John and Adam. Now I want him to be here for the Exodus. There's no other kid on the planet who can claim they saw a portal and they were there for the Exodus. I wanted to make sure my boy didn't miss out on that opportunity. By the way, the first night, Zord told me, you brought in 2,300 souls. We were caught with our pants down, so to speak. We weren't ready for this. We didn't think it would work that quick. And what they were doing was charging themselves up. Some would be at this end of the portal. The others would be at the other end of the portal. And they created a shunt and kept the portal open on both ends so everyone else on their dying world in orb form could come through the portal, because they couldn't manipulate it, but these guys kept it open so they could get through. That first night for an hour and a half, we got 2,300 souls through. So now we're back. Huh?
That's incredible.
Oh, you wait. So now we're back. Okay, Steve's home. Steve told me later, by the way, he didn't go home because of work. He went home because he was freaked out. He was freaked out. I want you to think about this. I'm an armchair YouTube Bigfoot researcher. He never had any field experience. And he went from behind his computer to the freaking Exodus. Boom. 0 to 120 in 2.5 seconds. Roar! Plus that night when he was in his cot, their hands were all over his body. He was freaked out. He didn't want to spend another night there. So now Mike and I and my son are back. We have 6 batteries. We don't park the truck on the logging road here. We actually back it into the cove, into the trees, so they don't have to run as far. We turn it on. Once again, you hear flat-footed running, heavy flat-footed running to the tailgate of the truck, back to the portal, to the tailgate, back to the portal for 6 hours. 6 hours. Zor said, we're done. I said, what do you mean you're done? We brought through 23,542 souls. 3 of them died within an hour. They were the older elders who withheld themselves from the vegetation on their dying home world so the younger ones could live. But at least they got to die on the earth with their family and friends. That night, 23,542 souls, there were orbs everywhere. Everywhere. In the sky, in the trees, everywhere. You could feel the energy. The central nervous system was lighting up. I put my boy to bed in his sleeping bag on his cot around 9:30. And he's in his sleeping bag laying down. All of a sudden, Dad, there's something by my leg. You know, I'm zipping it open because I'm thinking snake, rodent, right? Something by my boy's leg. And I'm about ready to open it up, grab it, and throw it, right? I zip it open. I fold the flap open of the sleeping bag. There's an orb the size of my fist down by his ankle.
Wow.
And it's going up his leg. Then it goes up into the air about 20 feet, 25 feet, hovers there for about 10, 15 seconds, and then zips into the trees. I said, Grady, you're never going to forget this the rest of your life, are you? Wow. No, Dad. Never. It was amazing. A couple of years ago, I took that same boy and his friend to a Portland Trail Blazers game at the Rose Garden in Portland. At the end of the game, they announced the attendance. Just shy of 23,500 attendees. All of a sudden, I'm looking at this crowd in this arena and I go, Grady, did you hear the number? This is how many souls we brought over from this dying home world. And I asked Zorth, is that it? 23,542 souls? He said, yeah, our planet's been dying for a long time. He said, you need to understand, if we had one soul there, we would do this just to get the one soul over. And I forgot to tell you, that was 2016, 9 years earlier. 9 years earlier, I'm taking my family for a spring break vacation in San Francisco. And we have a fun time in San Francisco, and now it's time to gas up and drive back to Southern Oregon. And I'm at this huge Shell gas station with 4 long rows of pumps of gasoline. And we're parked on the outside row at the end. There's no other cars here except on the outside row there at the other end. This lady puts the thing in her car, and then she starts walking over toward me through the gas pumps, looking at me. And I'm going, this is weird. And she keeps walking at me. She comes up to me. Again, the Exodus happened in 2016, June of 2016. She's talking to me in March of 2007, 9 years earlier. And she said, God wanted me to come over and tell you that someday you're going to help thousands and thousands of families. Well, no duh, Einstein, right? I'm speaking in 80 cities a year, all 50 states for 12 years. I'm already helping thousands and thousands of families. But I got to thinking about that later. She didn't say, God wanted me to come over and tell you that you're helping thousands of families. She came over and said, God wanted me to tell you that someday you will help thousands and thousands of families. Someday. But I already was. But she wasn't referring to human families. That was a mind blower. So, as a result of the Exodus, the next morning, I'm just emotionally drained. By this time, I invested 16 years of my life obsessively. I want to know who they are, where they're from, why they're here. Mission accomplished, mystery solved. I know who they are. I know where they're from. I know why they're here. They're not dumb giant mountain apes. Everything you've been taught about Bigfoot is wrong. Now, I'm going to Zorth. I'm free, right? I'm free. We're done, right? I can go on with my life, right? And he says, well, yeah, but the Council of 12, again, 2 elected members from each habitable continent around the planet, the Council of 12, we've talked, we've prayed, we've talked and we've prayed, and we feel that God wants you and we want you to be our ambassador. We want you to be our 13 to our 12. And we want you to share with the world who we really are, where we're really from, and why we're really here. While I was asleep the following year in summer in camp with my boy and a friend of his, I recorded this. I'm going to have to turn the speaker on because it's powered down. I recorded this. Zorth says, "Hail to my son." No. No, I don't know why that comes up. That's not the right one. And I'm not going to have time to pull it up. But Zorth says, "Hail to my son." So, I go home, I listen to it, and I ask Zorth, what's going on with Mogdu? Well, nothing. What's going on with Tukwa? Those are his two boys. Nothing. I said, well, you said hail to my son. He said it was an adoption ceremony. I have adopted you as my son. And he said, so we were celebrating your adoption. And I said, wait a second. You and my mom didn't, you know. And he goes, no, I adopted you. You're my adopted son. Which makes my daddy bigger than your daddy. Just saying. Okay? So, go on. Okay, look at this. Zorth left me. He knows I like collecting evidence. He gave me a 3-foot turd. Between two 27-inch tracks. Between two tracks that are twice the length of my shoe. So there are two 27-inch tracks and a 3-foot turd in between. He said collect it, so I did, dried it out, shellacked it, put it in a display case. Next to
In the
a
garage.
pile of bear poop and toilet paper. Thought it was cute.
Yeah, very COVID.
Yeah, right. Okay, now I want you to hear this. This is our last time at the Southern Oregon Interaction Area. You're gonna hear a vocal. I'm just gonna play it out and I'll tell you about it.
Yeah, another time I heard a huge vocal. Huge vocal.
Oh, it was good. I slept beautifully, but I heard footsteps back and forth around me all night, and then a whole bunch of wood knocks deep in there early this morning.
So huge vocal, foot tracks.
I heard one.
That isn't what you heard. I heard that.
Okay, so we heard huge vocals, wood knocks, all that kind of stuff. But what I picked up there in the recording was this. Okay, I'm going to play it again. Human, said with a whole lot of disdain and hatred. Human. That's not the Janu. This is your doctorate level education. That's not the Janu. That's the Tracon. That's not the Janu. Kushtaka, Yeti, Urine, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, Janu. That's not the Janu. It's the Tracon. Tracon are 6 to 8 feet tall, sometimes up to 9 feet tall. They look Bigfoot-ish, but they're not Bigfoot. They're locked into our physical bodies just like we are locked into our physical bodies. They cannot shapeshift. They cannot do any paranormal stuff. They're ugly. They're menacing. And if they catch you out deep in the forest, hunting, camping, hiking, and you stumble into their lair, their living space, they will kill you, eat you, and scatter your bones. They hate humans. They hate humans. They've had skirmishes with humans throughout our human history. There's legend of Vikings coming across the Atlantic to northeast Canada and battling the big hairy men. And it's not the Janu, it's the Tracon. The Tracon were kidnapped from their home world by an alien species a long time ago that came to the earth to mine for minerals. For various minerals. And when they were done getting what they wanted, what they needed, they left the Tracon behind. Now, if they need dirty work done, because occasionally you hear reports of, I saw Bigfoot walk off a UFO. I saw Bigfoot walk onto a UFO. That's not the Janu, the Ketchikan, the Yeti, the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot. It's the Ketchikan. These aliens will use food from the Ketchikan's home world and beverages from their home world to get them to do their dirty work. It's not the Janu. So yes, there are reports of aggressive Bigfoot out there. It's not the Janu. It's the Ketchikan. It's the Ketchikan. Okay? Human. Listen to the hatred in this voice. That's Ketchikan. Now, Zor said, we are no longer going to protect you at the Southern Oregon interaction area. We've moved out because what I didn't tell you at the 5,500 foot level in the middle of nowhere, we were 3 miles away from, as you toss the stone, to the Oregon Caves National Monument Park. And the rangers at that park were coming up and busying themselves in our research area. So the Janu, the Council of 12, decided to uproot from that area and move to a different area. Where, you might ask? Near our home in Washington. So we had our first Camp Janu at our home outside of Chehalis. We have plenty on that property, plenty of Bigfoot. Here's a head, shoulders, it's standing, full body right here. That's in our backyard in Chehalis. This property, we own 10 acres on a mountaintop. There are more Janu that we took pictures of in our backyard. None of these I saw with my naked eye. All of these I was told to take pictures, mind speak. They tell me to take pictures, I take pictures, I go inside the house, I zoom in, I find them, or the dog points them out, okay? Never saw any one of those with my naked eye. We hike through the forest on our property. We circled these are orbs following us into the woods. Those are Janu orbs following us into the woods. Healings occurred at our camp. Ruth, in her 50s, from Arizona. Her husband brought her to Camp Janu. We host camps at our property every summer, where people come from all over the USA, Canada, England, Scotland, Ireland, and Australia to spend a lengthy weekend on our property, seeing what we see, hearing what we hear, feeling what we feel. Her husband brought her from Phoenix, Arizona to our camp. Ruth had 3 strokes. Ruth had 3 strokes. Over a year's period of time, half her body was crippled. She could barely walk. She had to hold on to her husband. She could barely walk on the flat floor inside our house. By the end of the weekend, she was completely healed. She could run up and down the hillside. She was leaving her husband in her dust. She was jumping up and down, and she was going, praise the Lord, I'm healed. I talked to you about how the Council of 12 prayed, and God told them that He wanted me to be their 13, to be their ambassador. They prayed. They have paranormal abilities, but that's only because that's the only way we can think about describing it. But truth be told, I know some of you, this is going to be just as equally weird, but there is this guy called God. He really did have a son named Jesus, and 2,000 years ago, that guy said, if you had faith the size of a mustard seed, the smallest seed on the planet, if you had faith the size of the mustard seed, you could do what I do and more. He said that to us humans. The Janu, they never fell in the garden. They obeyed God's rules. They never fell like we did. And they have faith the size of a coconut seed. Not a mustard seed, a coconut seed. And they can do what Jesus did and more. They can mind speak like Jesus did with the woman at the well. They can cloak like Jesus did in the upper room. You read the Gospels, doubting Thomas is saying, unless I see the wounds in his hands and touch his side, I'm not going to believe. And then the authors of the Gospels went out of their way to say the door was locked in the upper room. The door was locked. And all of a sudden, Jesus appears in their midst, out of nowhere, goes to doubting Thomas and says, touch my hands, touch my side. He was there with them, cloaked, vibrating at a higher frequency, and he lowered his frequency down and appeared out of nowhere. The doors were locked. They can do what he does and more, because they don't have faith the size of a mustard seed. They have faith the size of a coconut seed. 2012, I was playing in a City League basketball game, and I dove for a loose ball. Us 50-year-olds were playing against a bunch of 20 and 25-year-olds. We were kicking their ass and pissing them off. But these old farts were just kicking them all over the floor. So I dove for a loose ball, and this guard on the other team steps on the back of my leg, and my Achilles tendon severs. So, 2 days later, I'm in surgery, reattaching my Achilles tendon. 2 days after that, Cynthia and I are on the plane, flying from Seattle to New Orleans for a speaking engagement. Then we're flying from New Orleans to Las Vegas for a speaking engagement. Then we're flying from Las Vegas to Los Angeles for a speaking engagement. And then we're flying back to Seattle to go home. Nobody told me that I wasn't allowed to go up and down in airplanes shortly after a surgery. My left leg turned into an elephant leg. It was just as thick down below by my ankle as it was up here on my thigh for 3 years. I finally got a referral from my primary care physician to a vascular surgeon. Cynthia and I are in the office. She's doing the ultrasound,
Yes.
lubing up my leg, right, and going over it, and she's going, oh my God. What? Oh, I'm sorry, you just, oh my God. And I'm like, what? Let me check this leg out. Oh, that's good, this is good. Let me check, oh my God. And I'm like, what? I can't tell you. So she goes out in the hallway, and we can hear on the other side of the door. The vascular surgeon comes in and says, let me begin by telling you just how lucky you are. Okay, you should be dead. What do you mean? You should be dead. Okay, why? You have what I would diagnose as a big-ass DVT, deep vein thrombosis, that went from your groin to your knee. A big blood clot that went all the way from here to here. He said, if you came into my office with that intact, I'd tell you to get your affairs in order because you're going to die. If I try to surgically remove it, you're dead. If I try to give you medication to dissolve it, you're dead. If it breaks up on its own, you're dead. You should be dead. This is a miracle of God. You should be dead. I've done this job for 20 plus years. Nobody lives through that. You should be dead. Literally for 45 minutes. You should be dead. You should be dead. You should be dead. We have to dismiss the doctor from the appointment because we have other errands we have to run. When have you told your doctor, we're done, I'm going? A couple of days later, we're up in the mountains in our research area. It's 100 degrees every day. Cynthia brings sheets because it only drops down to 70, and you can't sleep in a sleeping bag at 70 degrees, you're gonna cook. So the top flap's open, the sheet's here to sleep cooler to keep the bugs off. And in the middle of the night, I wake up because there's this huge hand, and this is a 2015, okay, summer of 2015. There's this huge hand right here going back and forth on my leg. And I can feel energy coming out of it. This is before the Exodus. This is before I knew what I know. For 5 minutes, and then I hear him mind speak to the other guy on the other side of my cot who had his hand on my other leg, telling him his leg is still okay. Still okay. And I'm going, still okay? And then his hand goes to my crotch. Nothing sexual, couple minutes of energy, and then he goes, his prostate is still okay. My prostate was near cancerous levels, and it dropped down to normal. Then his hand went up to the left side of my abdomen and was rubbing around here for 30 minutes with energy. Earlier that month, twice I was in the ER with knife-sharp pains right here, and they did a CAT scan and found a golf ball size growth in my intestinal tract. He's doing this for 30 minutes. Then he tells the other one, his stomach is okay now. So still okay now. By this time, I'm a little slow. I figure out they can heal. I have dental issues. My mouth, heal my mouth. He tells the other one, I'm not touching his mouth. I thought that was funny. But anyway, they can heal. And they heal by faith in Christ. 40 plus people witnessed this crippled woman from 3 strokes go back to normal. Healing by faith in Christ. Camp Janu, audio clips. Oop, yep, should be able to play, right? So that was in our backyard. Now, if I'm being objective here, that certainly could be a squirrel. Just saying, maybe, possibly, right, if I'm being objective. This next one is really interesting. That was Con 2, by the way. That was Con 2. This is his wife, Saria. Another vocal. We have a Malamute named Oma. And that was recorded while we're sleeping. The little Janu kid calls Oma Pudis. Listen, Pudis. Hear Pudis? Now this one, when we do night sits, they love music. They love music. They don't like angry music. They don't like angry music. Doesn't matter what the genre is. They don't like negative, angry music. But they love all forms of music, especially if it has a beat to it. So I'm playing happy. Happy has a beat to it, right? So when I'm playing this song, I want you to listen closely, because during the song, toward the end of the song, I loop it 3 times. You'll hear the Janu say, happiness! Okay? And then when the song's over, in between songs, I get a mind speak more drum. But it also records them saying more drum. So I loop that as well. That's my wife, not a John. Okay, more drum, listen. Those are our cats. Our cats and dogs hang out with us when we do night sits. More drum. So I got the mind speak, so I picked a song with more drum. More drum. Okay. Okay, last but not least, this is going to blow you away. Cynthia and I, nobody else is with us. We're sitting out doing the night sit thing, and we're belly aching to each other. You've had a bad day at work, right?
Sure.
You come home, blah, 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 right? Venting,
Yeah.
right? We both had a bad day at work same day. So we both are sitting around the night sit area in our backyard, kind of They're around us, they're listening to us, right? So we get up, we're done, we get up, we go into the house, go to the bathroom, brush our teeth, grab our pillows for our cots to come back out, because we're going to sleep outside in the night sit area in our cots. While we're inside the house, taking care of business, Saria, the wife of Cantu, walks up to the parabolic microphone dish and gives us a butt kick. Agathos, Greek. She uses Greek. Agathos, which is Greek for God is good. Agathos, oh come, you should be positive about living with us. Agathos, oh come, you should be positive about living with us. Agathos, so come you should be positive about living with us. Agathos, so come you should be positive about living with us. Number one, she uses Greek. I have a friend that has himself recorded in Georgia talking with his Janu in Georgia in the forest in Spanish. They know every known human language on this planet, including the ones that we've forgotten over time. They know them all. What one knows, they all know. They have a collective memory bank, a library. They know our forgotten languages. So they converse with him in Spanish in Georgia. She's using Greek. Agathos, God is good. So number one, she's using Greek. Number two, you should be positive about what?
Living with us.
Living with us. We're living with them. You don't have to go up in the mountains to interact with them. And that's the biggest farce in Bigfoot research, is thinking you got to go deep into the forest. Good luck with the Tracon. Human. You can interact with them in your own backyard. Zor said we're in the trees, and the trees are where? Everywhere. I took my boy a couple years ago, spring break, to Boston, Philadelphia, New York City. We're in the Sheraton Hotel, Times Square. Guess who's standing in the hotel room? A Janu. I go, where are you from? We're in the middle of freaking New York City. Where are you from? Central Park. We're in the trees, and the trees are everywhere. You don't have to go deep into the wilderness to find them. Do you have trees in your backyard? Do you have a park nearby? They're there. We're in the trees and the trees are everywhere. I asked Zorth, how many are there of you on this planet? He answered my question with a question. How many trees are there? Look that up online. The estimate, the guess of how many trees there are on Earth. 6 to 7 trillion. We're outnumbered. We're not the apex species on the planet.
He did say, though, that they're not in every tree.
Right. They are not in every tree, right. Okay. Then we had to move. We were in a house, 10 acres on a hilltop. We had to move because we had crazy neighbors with guns who didn't like us there, didn't like us bringing people on our property, didn't like the fact that we were doing Bigfoot stuff on our property. So when we brought groups over, bam, 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 loud music, floodlights, we moved. So now we're not west of Chehalis, we're west of Centralia in a log home. We're on top of another mountain, except this time 61 acres, not 10. Camp John New continues. Now we have more land, more trails, more families. Zor told me, you have 61 acres, there are 58 families on your property. We're in the trees and the trees are everywhere. But what, wife?
But not in every tree.
But not in every tree. Otherwise, we'd have way more than 58 families. That's the front side of our house. That's our house during the winter. That's the view from our mountaintop down below during the winter.
We don't really have waterfront, it just floods.
That's floods, the farm fields flood, but we have a seasonal lake front property. Right? Seasonal lake front property. They put X's up around the property. If you see large X's out there, constructed X's, that's them. They're marking the turf. This is where we are. Okay? The woven asterisks are welcome. The large X's are these. This is our turf. The Y's, they'll make Y's mean that they want the human race and the Janu to unite. Their ultimate goal, just so you know, is to help us reconnect with one another because we're disconnected. We lie, we steal, we cheat, we rape, we murder, we go to war. We're disconnected as a species. They want to help us reconnect together. They want to help us reconnect with God. They want to help us be good stewards of the planet God gave us to take care of. More X's on the property. Now, this one I'll just kind of watch the screen as I hone in. You can see one hiding behind the trees there. See the eye, the head, okay? Here's another one. Look in this area right here. All of these, take pictures, mind speak, take pictures. You see them? See the shoulders, see the head, see the eyes, the nose, the mouth. See it? It's on our property. Now, if that wasn't enough, we have an energy grid on our property. 2 weeks ago, we got home, got out of the car, and they said, take a picture.
You're,
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna advance. Okay, so somebody lightened it up. Do you see that? Do you see the grid? Do you see the power grid? The ley line? Okay. Could not see that with my naked eye. They said take pictures, so I did. I take the phone out and I scan the tree line on the property. Click, 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 click.
Panoramic.
Go inside, zoom in, nothing, zoom in, nothing, zoom in, nothing, zoom in, nothing. Black picture, zoom in, nothing. I delete the zoom in nothings, and now I'm left with my 2 black pictures, and I'm about to delete my 2 black pictures, and they say lighten. Lighten. So I lighten the black picture, and I get the grid, the ley line. Now look, it comes from this direction, it comes around the corner. Here's an omega symbol, a Greek symbol,
Yeah.
in the grid right here, an omega symbol. I'm the alpha and the omega, the beginning and the end. Okay? Colossians chapter 1. All things were created through him, by him, and for him. All things visible and invisible. Read it. Read it. All things were created through him, by him, and for him. All things visible and invisible. And he holds all things together.
Colossians what?
1. Colossians chapter 1, verses 15 through 17. So, then somebody who lightened this up for me counted the grid lines between this symbol and this symbol, and they came up with, guess what? 13 grid lines. Not 12, not 14, 13. Somebody proposed the possibility, the Einstein-Rosen bridge wormhole, because it loops around, right? And this loops around. So they're proposing that in this area, there might be the opening of a portal. Well, if that's not enough, we actually caught a picture of Zorth on our property in a different area coming through a portal. Okay? Head, arm, leg. Then Janu come inside the house, and they come inside their house, our house, in their natural form, right? They have a higher vibrational frequency than we do, which means you can't see them with your eyes. But sometimes if you train your eyes, you can see a shimmering image, like in the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, Predator.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Remember Predator?
Yeah.
That shimmering image? Sometimes you can see that with your eyes. You can see that. So, we had one come into our house. Remember Champ, who spots them? Toy Fox Terrier. Get your hands on a Toy Fox Terrier. They're good Janu spotting dogs. Okay? Champ is laying on the back of the couch and he's growling while he's looking over here. We have Oma, our Malamute, crashed on the floor over here, right here. So I zoom in, I take the picture, I zoom in, and I start to see the shadowy figure right here. I zoom in, and the shadow figure is right here. I zoom in, and here's the head, here's the shoulder, here's the hand on his body. There he is. Now what's really cool is they love Oma, okay? This is a Janu outside while we're sleeping outside for a night sit, right? This is an adult male. Hello, Oma. We have chimes. Those are chimes you're hearing. Can you hear that? Hello, Oma. They love our dog. They love our cats. They love our pets. Now, remember I told you they're God-fearing. They walk by faith in Christ. They heal through Christ. They healed Ruth, 3 strokes, crippled. They healed me. I should be dead. Well, in helping them with the Exodus, Cynthia, myself, Steve, Mike, we pissed off a few demons. Right? The dark side of the Force. There's a light side and there's a dark side. There's God, there's Satan. There's angels, there's demons. We pissed off the demons. The Janu referred to the demons, the fallen angels, as the Jujaiko. The Jujaiko. So once again, who's on the couch growling at the door? Get your hands on a toy fox terrier. They're good spotters for what's going on in the yard and inside the house. So I zoom in, and guess what I have? Here is a Jujaiko in the window with eyes, nose, mouth. This is a better picture here. Here's the head, here's the eyes, here's the nose, here's the mouth. They're by the door, the window. Now why are they there? Because the previous summer in our other property, they were coming after Cynthia and I. And the Janu had a battle with the Jujaiko, and the Jujaiko, for the first time in history, they would have skirmishes and walk away and, lick their wounds. That's it. But for the first time in their conflictual history, the Jujaiko killed 9 Janu warriors. And we, myself, Joel, and his cousin Walt from Connecticut, were sitting out in the backyard doing a night sit in the dark, and we were hearing down the slope across the wetlands and up the other side through Weyerhaeuser timber property, bunch of screaming going on for 30 minutes. And what had happened was the Janu rounded up all the Jujaiko in the area, and they started executing them. Sounds weird, doesn't it? They're not dumb giant mountain apes. Everything you've learned about the Bigfoot species is wrong. Okay? So listen to what we recorded last summer. Jonas, don't stab him. So that's one of the Janu yelling out to Jonas, who's the head of the Janu warriors. Janu warriors, by the way, are red orbs. And Zork told me last summer, your Marines, your Rangers, your SEALs, your Navy SEALs, you know how bad they are, how tough they are? Yeah. He said our Janu warriors make them look like kindergarten students. Okay? And the Jujaiko killed 9 of them. So, Jonas, don't stab him. The next one, you hear Jonas say, kill some. Mercy, please. Kill him. Mercy. Mercy, you're killing me. Mercy, please. Kill some, mercy, kill him, mercy, you're killing me, mercy, please. Now this is you're killing me, mercy, please.
Short said it's not us. No worries. What's that? I'll say it again. Really?
So I'm telling Joel and Walt, Zor says we're okay.
What's that?
So this sound freaked you out?
No.
Liar. Why did you lose your cots then?
He says watch the move in the morning. Well, when he said it wasn't them, it won't protect you. That's like, I'm cool with that, but that's, you know, what was that? I didn't sign up for that, man. I've never heard anything like that.
Neither have I.
That was bizarre and inconsistent and very repetitive.
Okay, so just like the portal happened and you have John and Adam recorded saying it happened, now you have Joel and you have his cousin Walter saying it happened. So that happened last summer. So they executed 53 Jujiko and then they let the rest go with a warning that if you come back to go after Matt and Cynthia again, we will execute all of you. We will not let any of you leave alive. So then we moved to our new house 7 months ago, the log home up on a different hilltop. And two Jujiko are doing a reconnaissance mission on our property. They catch them. Well, they give them a choice. They give them a choice. We told you if we catch you anywhere around Matt and Cynthia, we're going to execute you. But this one time only, because they know I like evidence, if you go to the back door and sit down and let Matt take your pictures, we will let you live this one time. So they obviously chose the pictures because they didn't want to be executed. And then they said, if you come back again, we will execute you. You will not get any choices. So, they make weird noises, which sounded like a seal. Oh, one of my favorite. Okay, we're in the backyard, we're sleeping. This is at night, we're sleeping, it's dark, we're sleeping, the chime's ringing. You hear some Janu females humming to the tune of the chime, and then they're talking, right? So this is female Janu humming to the tune of the chime while we're sleeping, and then they're talking to each other. Can you hear them talking? Okay, so we'd love to have you attend a Camp Janu weekend event at our property. Well, that's kind of a ways away. I just told you earlier that we have people come from all over the USA, Canada, England, Ireland, Scotland, and Australia. Don't you whine to me about a 2-hour flight to Seattle. Wham, wham, wham. Well, how much do you charge? $500, $1,000? No, we charge $150. You get 6 meals, you get all your beverages, you get snacks. We have porta potties there for you, hand washing stations.
And you don't have to ship your camping gear because we've got
You
extras.
got plenty of cots and foam pads. You can bring your sleeping bags, or we have sleeping bags. We're not doing this to make money. $150 a person. We're not doing this. You take yourself out there for 6 meals, beverages, and snacks for $150. And no, Taco Bell and McDonald's don't count. I'm talking good food, real meals. Okay? We're not doing this to make money. We're doing this to educate. My role is 13, the ambassador, isn't to make money off this. My goal is to educate. That's my role. So we'd love to have you attend camp. Once again, There are 2 books. This is undergraduate and graduate. This is your doctorate. Okay? You must read this before you read this. There's much more information in these books than I've shared with you. Much more information than I've shared with you. I also have a YouTube channel, Team Squatching USA. Over 400 videos.
What was that again?
Team Squatching USA. YouTube, Team Squatching USA. If you go to that channel, if you want to learn, listen, this is going to take some discipline and commitment. If you want to learn, then you will go to the very first video and you will watch every video from the beginning to the end if you want to learn what you want to know. Because what you've been told about Bigfoot isn't real. Okay? Now, what I'm not telling you, because I don't have time, because I'm watching my audience, and I was told 9, and we're closing in on that. We have evidence, audio evidence, collected last week of a 3-letter agency on our property. Government agency. And the audio evidence we have is not only them talking and communicating with somebody else about us and them hiding and they're afraid, and you hear a young Janu say lots of fear because they're afraid, but we also have audio evidence of them trying to bait the Janu with a female human, and we have them, the humans, going, don't you want to, develop a friendship with us? And you want to know what the Janu's response was to them? Shoot me. Clint Eastwood, do you feel lucky, punk? Shoot me. That was their response. Don't you want a friendship with us? Shoot me. And then we're going to fight dirty. And then you hear them, and for the first time in all my audio recordings, you hear them refer to themselves as Janu. Janu. I have that recorded. And I have more evidence. Don't have time to go into it. That's your doctorate level education. Take those tassels, throw them over to the other side of your cap. Books are for sale over here. We can go ahead and wind this down. Bye in YouTube land. Thank you for watching. Love you. Bye. Come to Camp Janu. Bye.